Hey everybody, it's your old pal SimplySuperDave, and I'm coming at you with another podcast. Oh, another episode of Staying Super with me. As we drudge through this crazy life, let's go ahead and hit the top of the news, shall we? Mr. Vladimir Putin has announced that they are no longer going to participate in the nuclear arms agreement that they've made with everybody, where you can come check in on someone's nuclear stuff. You know, like, hey, you're acting a little suspicious. Can we come check out your nuclear facilities? Absolutely. We don't want you to, but we must. They said, no, we're going to fuck with our shit. And kind of a fair warning to the West that support the Ukraine. Basically, and if you keep up with what's happening, this is what's happening, folks. This is the real truth. This is what I believe. Okay, let me go ahead and say that. Because I like to look at everything from a basic standpoint. Because once things happen, then people need to be told in the simplest way possible. Russia is getting their ass kicked in the Ukraine, left and right. I think over 200,000. 200,000. I could be wrong, but the source I'm going off of, what I've heard, is a best-selling author, and it is direct from the mouth. But 200,000 Russian men, I guess, I assume it's all men, have died trying to fight this Ukrainian war, which is insanely awesome. Because the Ukraine were never like us. They didn't have a military ready to strike back. They were kind of ready to defend, but they felt like, well, of course you have to. If you're next door to Russia, I think that defense is a budget you must have in your spending there. And I think they had that, but they didn't really expect what has happened. I mean, if you remember everything happening, the raw footage from last year that's why it's good to keep up with things as they happen, because you get a lot of raw footage before it starts being gone through and kind of shuffled out of the rotation. So you don't be reminded of what really was happening. Like the TikToks of watching planes and things blow up, people just walking down the street and a fighter jet flies over. These things are happening in the world today. And these people fight like Americans. At least the Americans I was taught to believe in. When they see unjust and unfair, and in this case, they are the victim. They're just a country, whatever. Interestingly enough, a lot of pharmaceutical companies have a home base in the Ukraine. Just a minor note. But anyway, Russia tends to push the nuclear talk now because they're running out of resources. And what I mean by that is people to fight this war for them. And Vladimir is a Russian. He's a crazy Ivan. You can see, I first saw Vladimir Putin, and I thought, crazy Ivan. I mean, this guy looked like he would want to push that button. He's the guy at the poker table that would bluff you. But, them crazy, just like in Rounders. Great movie selection for the night. Rounders. Matt Damon. Edward Norton, fantastic. If you love poker, if you like card play, John Malkovich plays a crazy Russian in this film. Oh my gosh. Definitely check it out. Makes me want to have an Oreo just thinking about this movie. And once you watch it, you'll totally understand why. But I'm not going to give it away. But to me, is probably my favorite Matt Damon flick. And John Turturro also has a role in this film. Actually, the whole cast is phenomenal. Anyway, back to the message at hand. Russia has crazy intentions. Will they do that? I don't know. But if they're willing to set off a nuclear bomb, at least one, and feel like the world would not do anything back, which is what they're testing the waters to find out, then yeah, I can see them dropping one in the middle of Kiev, or that is the capital of the Ukraine, I assume. That's the one I always hear about. Maybe Kiev is the wrong way to say it, because there's so many different names over there. I'm a stupid American. I don't keep up with all that kind of crazy crap, I'm just simply Super Dave. I'm an idiot talking on a podcast about my opinion as if so many matter, but that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it to say, hey, listen to me, because I'm not afraid to speak. And you don't have to do a podcast, but when you talk to people, make sure you are fighting for the same things those Ukrainians are fighting for, and that's their way of life. Much like this country right now, they're going through a time where every man, woman, and child is picking up whatever they can to defend when the Russians are there. It's kind of so scattered and disorganized looking. It's really atrocious, but I feel very confident in the United States military. So much that I'm not too worried about it, but if it does go nuclear, that kind of limits the card play if it goes crazy. So yeah, it's a very tense subject right now, and yes, it's very real. That's why I'm trying to stay super. And talking about things like, Dave, those past episodes about the mark of the beast and the Antichrist. Well, hey, come on. It's fascinating to think that artificial intelligence is our creation of God, and that alone is an abomination. And is the first time in history there is something on the planet that connected the entire human race. You know what I'm saying? Like John Travolta's mind in Phenomenon. The only reason why he was able to have all those gifts and telepathy? I can't say the fucking word. Telepathy. Anyway, see, I'm not a genius. I'm I'm not going to say that word. I'm a nut. I guess I'm a nut. They haven't outlawed that one yet, right? You know what? I almost want to say the R word, but I can't, but I miss it. I miss it so much. It was just a fun name to say, and it really wasn't meant towards what everybody literally put it toward. The world's gone too literal on us, I think, and has taken the fun out of moments that deserve to have that word spoken for whatever reason. But I'm not out of kindness and respect and understanding of my younger generation. I will Gen X, little X it down for you a little bit there. So, because I compromise, because I want to be part of the step forward. I don't want to be stuck in the behind. And I'm letting go of a lot of things, and that held me back in my younger years. The focus of, it's weird. The older you get, all of those things that you were taught, and the lessons behind them made you who you are, the character who you are. But it's almost like digging a hole just to learn respect, or for the fact of doing what you're told and doing it properly and right. And then whenever there is a time where you actually have to dig a hole, you're the only idiot in the group that knows how to get down there the quickest, and you don't have splinters in your hand. And you know what I'm saying? It's the knowledge of knowing how to do something, even if it is very basic. Regardless of the fact, knowing how to take care of a simple task gives you kind of a completion check mark in your book list. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, and I think a lot of life today is more on a mental and less physical aspect. And as much as we feel like we know so much, it's not so much what we know, but how it really transitions into the real life. But sometimes you get put to do things that you think are pointless, and later on you find out they were. But you never know when that moment comes along where you might have to do that, or it becomes part of your job that you have to do. Men, speaking generally, or women as well, it just depends what you do. Gardeners out there, there's women farmers and stuff like that. They are all out there, and that That's going to be a hard one to get used to, folks. I just don't really want to trend too much into that topic, but you're a man or a woman when you come out, no matter how you are wired mentally, and then there's luckily, and I mean luckily, read history, folks. I mean, not saying, but you shouldn't take for granted the fact that you have every freedom to be whatever the hell you want to be. And I love that. I love that you can be literally whatever you feel and mentally. Nobody's held back by bonds and chains physically, but the battle of the mind right now, that's where it's all at. And so it's hard to transition what we don't actually physically touch and do and sweat and bleed for. A lot of people still do, don't get me wrong. I'm part of that. My body's broken down because of that. But I see a whole life and a whole world where they have to go work out for that physical demand they need in their life. There's two lives out there, But at the same time, that person also has to mentally. But if they don't feel like working out, they can still do the other. You know what I'm saying? That's a choice. Physically being labored is not a choice. Nobody wants to do that shit. Nobody does. There's people out there that just love being craftsmen. And I bet every house would be a fucking mansion if only people that wanted to be craftsmen were craftsmen. You know what I'm saying? You translate that to the medical field, for example, or any job for that matter, because it's transitioned all the way to that point now. That any store you walk into is part of a corporation. It's a small branch of a subsidiary that they bought many years ago under a, liquidate buyout for bankruptcy, for whatever fuck. I mean, really, we are so brainwashed with how business works that I can't look a name across the street that none of them are independently owned except for maybe the little restaurant. Restaurants are the only thing you're going to find in towns that are independently owned, and bars and things like that. You really have to look hard for the place that you can donate local money to. It used to not be like that a couple of years ago, but a couple of years ago, the nail was put in the coffin against the mom and pop shops. The people that could undersell the top dog. Even the Dollar General is a corporation. As much as I love them, they still are. Ichiban, these, Sky Donuts, they're all under a chain. They're franchise owned, independent owners, but you're just a clog in the wheel. They can give it to somebody else. It'll keep going tomorrow. There'll be donuts. Even if you're not there, they'll be closed for a couple hours, but someone will know how to turn the machine on and work the register and keep up with the numbers. It's not hard. The Industrial Revolution was what Rockefeller wanted. He wanted to make sure there was enough workers out there that could be just like slaves, but they wanted to be. And thus, here we are, caught up in our own consumption, our own consumerism, to the point. And the very reason why Fight Club was my number 2 movie of all time. At some point, it all needs to be reset. But by the people. It's about to be reset, folks. But by the system. That's a whole different switch. The only thing holding things up is our little country and other little countries like us, where the government can't just do what the other governments want to do too. That's kind of the reason why, a lot of these things are happening. If you haven't noticed that the world economy is in a little bit of a flux because Russia, China, trying to think of the other countries, but I want to say Iran, Middle East, they've all combined their money to form their own digital dollar based on their minerals. So that's a whole currency now introduced that a lot of other countries are kind of getting behind. That's kind of scary. So now you have a front in the real world with a nuclear bring up. We're not gonna say any more than that, because I don't think that's a threat as much as that's just a warning. A threat is when you call someone out directly, but the West. You're not saying the United States of America. You're saying anybody in the West, NATO, basically. But that's part of us. So right now it's indirectly pointing, hey, we're going to start messing with, firing test missiles and stuff. Okay, you want to play that game. You're going to shoot one up over the Ukraine and see if we shoot it down or not? Because if that's what happens, that could be I said a little bit over a year ago in a stream that I was doing, because, I do stream. I'm going a little bit more on that. But I tell you, when they invaded the Ukraine, I thought, down the road, this would be a date to remember, because this would have been the starting point of something much bigger that would affect everyone. And it is, and I think it has. I almost feel like there is a war happening, apparently, and we are supplying it. We're having people go over and volunteer. You have to become part of the army, and they'll let you go fight. So, see what it is, but at some point, are we going to be able to step up and call the bluff? Or are we going to back down? It's a big deal. A lot of people will say the smart play is not to say anything, even let the Ukraine alone. They're on their own. I get that. Smart. Because that could avoid a world war, and it's sad the Ukraine couldn't hold it or whatever, but it is what it is. And that's probably how it's going to go. But let's say they go ahead and push, and they drop a bomb or whatever. Whatever they do to overwhelm the Ukraine. Right now they can't do. This, like I said, I feel like this is a last-ditch effort, which I don't know where you can really go with that in the real world, except for actually launching one or something, or it's really crazy. Like Crazy Ivan, I told you, these Russians, man. But this guy is playing the full deck, I guess. He is ex-KGB. He's a very smart man, but has it all gone to his head to the point where he is certainly a tyrant? Even the people in the same room with him are scared, because he will probably just turn around. It's crazy. It really is. If you put it in perspective, this guy is scarier than what Adolf Hitler appeared to be, which wasn't nowhere near to this guy. Adolf was just a speaker. Could you imagine? I don't. I know it was hard life and all that kind of stuff back then, but Adolf wasn't no Vladimir Putin, okay? And Vladimir is a very smart man, but I just don't know if the Russia he envisions. Like, I think they have to feed him lies. Like, well, we got the best in the world, and no, you don't. And you can't take out the next door neighbor. You're not going to take out the people across the ocean. So it's a big deal to them. So I think it's a big bluff, and I hope we call it. And just to remind them that we ain't ever going to back down. And not last century and not this one. So if you drop one, expect retaliation. So I feel like if they did, in fact, drop a bomb on the Ukraine, that is an act of war, world war. You have bombed another city. That's going to be an automatic attack, in my opinion. If that doesn't happen, then I will know. I will know that evil has finally overtaken the good in this world. Because all they're fighting for is their well-being, their way of living, which should exist for everyone in this world today. There should be a place, just like you can mentally and physically be anybody that you feel like who you are, then there is a place in the world where you can find harmony and happiness. It's a huge planet, folks, and there's plenty of room for us. bitch a lot about people. And that's because I'm in a congested area. You know, there's a lot of nature out there. There's a lot of places out there. There's a lot of ways to live on this planet. And it's not connected to this and all the bullshit that's going on around us. We can't control if we go to war or not. We really can't. It doesn't matter how much I talk about it. It doesn't matter how much you talk about it. If we all said it together, that might wake them up. But we have been separated already. All by this little ball of energy that directs you in the way they want you to go. It's amazing how technology can show you so many things that is the truth, but yet hide so many things while showing them not as much as they show you this. It's like they've learned the lesson to the point where, I mean, your phone knows you better than you do. It can remember everything you cannot. You have so much faith in your phone because it has all the information that you used to remember on your own. Now you don't. Now you got time to consume, share yourself, be a star. Watch me play video games. Let me talk about my life. There's an audience, but don't expect you to be David Letterman or anything. Like I said, I've been doing this streaming and now podcasting for a couple years now. And it's been an adventurous journey. If you like my game commentary, the goofiness of that I am, then check me out on TikTok, SimplySuperDave. If you don't, I get it because it's a Chinese-owned company, blah, 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 blah. But then again, I get it. But that's my only thing that I get into. I don't download all those other apps and for the trends and stuff like that. I just watch all you guys do it. I don't need to see myself when I was 18. I have photographs. All right. Yes, they don't move, but no. Anyway, TikTok's the only thing that I would say if you do vicious out, carelessly with the internet, then download TikTok and look me up, SimplySuperDave, and enjoy my Fortnite gameplay, as I am the worst Fortnite player in the game. I mean, really, once you watch it, you'll be like, how does this guy win? He's so bad. But I do it from time to time. I share them on the TikToks. Anyway, check them out. Which brings up streaming. It has been bubbling a little bit on the brain, and I'm not sure in the next 2 days or not. Might do a trial run tomorrow. But by Friday, I think that we're going to pick out an hour in the mid-afternoon time for me, which will probably be around 3 o'clock Central Time for everybody. So that'd be 2 o'clock East and so on, 4 and 5. And so I cover that little block. But 3 o'clock my time is what I'm looking at shooting for. So if you do follow me on Twitch, that is the streaming platform which I do stream on, then look me up again, SimplySuperDave. Follow me on Twitter, SimplySuperDave. Just SimplySuperDave. Instagram, SimplySuperDave. Spotify, SimplySuperDave. Everywhere you want to go, SimplySuperDave is right here for you. I hope everybody had a wonderful night. Don't worry about it, folks. There ain't nothing you can do, but just be aware and don't let tomorrow go by pretending like you got the next one guaranteed. Live every day like it's your last. But don't do that so seriously either. Remember moderation. Don't ever overdo anything. Ever. If you tighten a bolt too much, you're going to fuck something up or break your knuckle. So just fucking tighten it. Get it right. Be ready. Kiss your kids goodnight. Tell your loved ones that you do. And enjoy the moment. Oh, I did have this is weird. I don't want to leave without sharing this moment with you. And if you're part of my Discord, again, SimplySuperDave, I will post a picture of it. It's going to be from the car, so it's going to be horrible. It's not a good picture, but it will show, hopefully, the moon and the cross. That I come down the highway, all right? I turn and I come down this highway that winds around a curve. Now, as it goes around through this curve, on one side of the hill is a cemetery, and you can see all of it. And on the other side, up on the top of the hill, because the road kind of gets in the middle, so the cemetery is low, church is up high, and the church has this 200-foot cross up in the sky, just from the bottom, just a huge cross right up into the sky, right? Lights up. I can see it from where I live at. I live upstairs on a balcony, and so at night I can see the cross. I know where everything is because I can see where the cross is. Anyway, as I come around the corner, there's a cross here on to the left of me, bright in the dark sky, and then over to the right was this just red sliver, like a crescent upside down, like a big smile in the sky, like an evil grin, like a red grin. And it was just across to my right. And I was like, what a sight that is. And just earlier before that, as that moon was coming up before it turned orangish red, it had 2 stars down below it. Very prominent stars, the only stars in the sky at the time because it was just getting dark. So you had that along with it's just an amazing picture. I wished I could take the photograph of what I saw with my my eyes than the camera. Just to show you how amazing cameras have come so far, but still how far away they are. Don't worry, AI isn't on our heels yet, but be very restrictive about how you interact with it once it comes into your lives. That's all I'm saying, folks. Remember, only you can be you, no matter who you choose to be. Just mix a lot of love and laughter in there, and I promise you, you will conquer all the hate and fear in your lives. Here's till tomorrow. Stay super.